Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the SwampTalk Podcast. Tonight we have another one of our special episodes for you. Got a lot of folks together trying to just show our support and camaraderie for JSD Supply and the battle that they're going through right now with the ATF. And in no particular order, I'll bring in the guest for y'all tonight. I guess we'll start from the right. How's it going, Coop?
Hey man, same old same, man. Rocking and rolling and trying to support the cause, man.
There you go. And I guess we'll bring it over to the middle. How's it going, Banshee?
Overworked and underloved as usual, but still breathing.
Don't we all know that sometimes? And then we'll go down to Edgar.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, always, anytime, man. And then X7, how's it going?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I was going to say, glad to have you back on again. You're starting to become a frequent flyer on the show.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very powerful form of actually getting to talk to people. We can actually get a full conversation with each other and kind of pan things out a little bit for further understanding. So
awesome. That's exactly what I had in mind trying to start this show off. So I'm glad it's working out. And how's it going, Gun Doctor? You're still muted.
You're muted.
It's going great, guys.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I tried to unmute you too, and we did ended up back muted again. Last but not least, we got the constant tinkerer. How's it going?
Howdy, y'all. Doing all right?
And I want to go ahead and mention the whole point of tonight's show. Like I said, we're trying to raise awareness and support for JSD. I have in the comment and the chat the link to the Give Send Go. It's givesendgo.com/JSD. Anything that y'all do, even a little bit, whatever, it all helps add up because there's multiple families and that's being affected by this. It's not just Jordan and, it's not just a one-man operation that's being affected.
No, not at all.
it's the whole fucking family, man. That's fucked up. It's all fucked up. It's a legal business. They have no fucking right. No fucking right.
Amen to that.
And we got our buddy Shooting Gallery New England out there. Give you a shout out.
What's up, Shooting?
What's up, brother?
Hey, Crump just dropped a video saying apparently a second company got hit with a cease and desist.
Oh,
Hey, Sarah. Sorry, I didn't see you in the background. I had to scroll
That's
down.
all right. Good
Did he-
evening.
Hey, Sarah, it's been 24 hours since I've seen you.
Road, did he say who got hit?
As you guys were talking, I was trying to go through the video, but it looks like Jordan filed a cease and desist against.
Yeah.
That's like totally
No, a
Jordan.
TRO. He filed a TRO against the ATF. It looks like.
Yeah, he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if he can get more parties that are affected to join in with that and that or actually have some standing right now, the more the merrier, man. Pile them on.
Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, now we got some folks out there watching. We'll go ahead and kick things off with the intro now that I got all the guests on here. Now we got Sarah on here. I feel bad for her being left out.
Oh, she'll beat us all up later.
She will.
Yeah, for anybody that's got headphones, my apologies if it's a little bit loud. Yeah, I know that's one of them things that can't leave that out. It just gets you pumped and ready to go,
Oh, man.
especially when you got stuff that you got to get off your chest.
Dude, that thing looks so good. The one you did for dark looks amazing.
I appreciate it. That was one thing that I took a lot of time trying to get the handle of editing and stuff like that, and trying to do something, that to set things to the next notch. So it means a lot having, people appreciate it.
Dude, you do an awesome job with that stuff. Seriously.
Production value.
Yes, absolutely.
We gotta show them how much we're spending on this shit.
I was trying to be a little humble about it, but yeah, I actually was just got done talking with Coop about some of that earlier before the show.
Dude, with the 3D cam, and the way that you're able to produce stuff, we're looking forward to some seriously good content from you. I mean, seriously.
Awesome. I appreciate it. It's knowing that folks is looking forward to watching it's the whole point of doing it. Otherwise, we're just talking to ourselves.
Well, I talk to myself all the time. It's like company meetings.
I lose arguments with myself.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of normal. Just depends on what your definition of normal is.
My definition of normal is kind of Abby normal. So
there you go.
I have a very loose definition of normal.
Yeah.
So I was trying to check some of the
I want to
comments
make a
over
quick
here.
shout out to my wife. She just went into the store and got me beef jerky. I didn't
Oh yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
ask
man.
for it. I didn't
Did
ask
she get
for it,
enough
man.
to share?
Yeah, it's
Pass it
it's like,
around.
come
Hey,
on
Pete,
now.
yeah.
Do you have enough to share with the class or what?
Yeah, I do. It's hardwood smoke and some shit, and we're gonna probably hit some.
What's up, P-Tank?
P-Tank Clan.
Yep. The man is in.
Wait, what?
Student Gal in New England says sometimes I talk to myself because I'm the only one that'll listen.
Yeah, this is true.
Damn.
The only problem is I cuss myself out too. So I mean, it's kind of like I don't even get any sympathy from me
You gotta
either.
keep yourself in check all the time, bro. He's like,
Oh yeah.
do it, you pussy.
It's like that video yesterday that I shot. I had to get my AK dirty for SDI classes because I got to take pictures of it, show that it's dirty, and then clean it. So I decided, hell, I'll pull out the pistol belt. I haven't trained in a while, and I'll be damned when I went through the first transition, I never chambered a round of my pistol. So you just see me laughing on the video because I'm just sitting there looking at myself, going, "You dumbass." I was like, I'm so posting that shit. Everybody's got to see it because I did it.
Hey, it happens to everybody.
Oh
You
man,
don't have to be ashamed. It happens.
Yep.
It does.
Everyone's got a blooper reel, man.
oh yeah, dude,
Yep.
absolutely.
I'm a walking blooper reel.
I was gonna say it about myself, but yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
I've done more training or more dry fire lately from concealment. So I mean, raise and draw and doing all that. So I haven't worked with my belt, haven't worked my AK drills, anything. So I'm like trying to rock a mag in, and it's like, good God,
Fuck, but
Yep. Did y'all see? Did y'all see CMG put out that video, like a PSA about telling folks to rock and lock the magazines?
No, I haven't seen
No.
that.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago now, but it was golden. It was like done like a YouTube short, and it was done kind of like an actual educational video, but you could tell it was more like satire behind it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Mike's all about that. Mike is a very creative dude, and I think on his own from CMMG, he could with the podcast and stuff, he can actually start something there.
Yeah,
I got.
He definitely has the personality for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, so I'm wondering, I I was kind of sitting backstage for a little bit, so I didn't get to watch the beginning of your podcast tonight, Swamp Dog. I was just wondering if you have shared with viewers what has happened, if they're first learning about this tonight. Have you done that yet?
No, we're still just kind of chit-chatting, getting things kicked off. We haven't gotten that started yet.
Sounds good.
But on that note, since you brought it up, we'll go ahead and cover that now for the folks that's out there watching that's not familiar. Our friends over at JSD Supply were recently served a cease and desist letter from the ATF, basically telling them, stop selling any parts and stuff because
Stop being in
according to
business.
their
Completely.
stop being in business.
Stop
Pretty much.
paying your bills.
Well, it was really worse than that because they accused him of selling firearms without an FFL.
In a single transaction.
Yeah.
That's what they were claiming. And it's like, but they're on separate parts of the fucking website. So, like, you're telling me you want separate transactions, but you don't?
He has a determination letter saying it's not a firearm. They said it's not a firearm.
And they basically said if Jordan sells a frame to someone 2 years ago and then they go and buy a slide and finish it out, well, he sold a firearm without an FFL. So if he sold a firearm without an FFL as a business, okay, that's illegal. Why aren't there handcuffs on anybody at that point? I mean, they got an Amish guy right now in court trying to throw his ass in jail for decades for so-called being in business selling firearms without an FFL. So Jordan and them have sold millions of kits. I mean, I've got a couple.
Right.
So,
if they can apply this to Jordan, they can apply this to Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere that sells any type of CNC machine, anything.
Bro, it's like if I buy tires and I buy an engine, do I have a car?
Right.
That's the point. It doesn't make any fucking sense. You gotta have the whole complete thing. It's like it takes work. It's not easy. It's like everybody just going, I can build guns. Man, it's a lot fucking easier for them to just go out there and steal it.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper too.
It's cheaper. You gotta learn how to do bullshit, and then halfway through you're realizing building your kit instead of robbing something, like I could just build a bunch of these.
Well, ultimately, what is easier? Okay, I can take a firearm and I can remove the serial number with a rock, and no instructions, no skill, no drill, no nothing. I can literally pick up a rock and I can damage that serial number to where you can't read it.
Exactly.
Or I can do like I did with my last two P80 kits. I built a 17 and an 18 and had issues with both of them. I mean, when I put the slide on the 17, it was like I was running it on gravel. It would not operate. So I had to go in and clean stuff up and polish and clean and set. And so, I mean, what is some idiot off the street going to do? I'm going to remove a serial number at that point.
Yeah.
I think what their primary focus on that whole thing is trying to get it more on a registration level.
Oh, yes. That's exactly what they're saying.
Oh yeah,
that's what it all boils down to.
It's totally about control. That's all it is. And then Jordan's one of the loudest advocates out there, so they hit him first.
Well, Jordan,
this was retribution.
Yeah, and see, I agree with Trump or Crump. Goddamn, I'm getting numbers or names confused. But Crump, when he was on 2AEDU's show the other night, he was talking about where the letter came from that initially started it off with JSD. And that came from Josh Shapiro, because Josh Shapiro's got a hard-on for JSD because Jordan basically told him, well, screw you. I'm gonna have my gun show. I'll buy the whole freaking venue if I have to.
And just to clarify, that's the guy that did the news report about how he's selling all the stuff to anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's also the one running for governor, which they're counting votes right now. He could possibly be governor of Pennsylvania at this point. Hopefully that don't happen.
Well, it is primaries, but I am from Pennsylvania, and I do I just want to say that I absolutely have utmost respect for Jordan. I have to say he turned around the Eagle shows, the gun shows in our area. They used to just feel like just miserable and sad, and he really has just helped to revitalize gun shows in Pennsylvania. You walk in now and it just feels like freedom, and it's a beautiful experience. Jordan, it is phenomenal, just his business acumen, and I'm really proud of him. And there are many other websites that sell parts and firearms at the same time, right? So to your point, right, and so to your point, it just seems as though because he's a bit of a lightning rod, they're going after him first. But it is. I think that one of the concerns that I have is that people say, well, I'm not really in the building community, so this doesn't really matter to me. And please understand that this is, to have an entity just be able to write rules and change things and turn people into criminals overnight, that affects everybody. Although I am here speaking for myself tonight, I do run a nonprofit that we store firearms for people who are experiencing a suicide crisis. Rules like this and changes like this, they do affect, we have to be careful in the way that we do business. But this kind of just death by 1,000 paper cuts really doesn't help anything. It doesn't really save lives. No. And so what it is doing, though, is making people distrust the ATF even more. And so, it just creates more frustration and consternation about these kinds of things. But please, if you're watching this and you're like, well, I don't manufacture my own firearms. This doesn't really apply to me. It does. To be able to try to define parts as a firearm, that means that that regulations will affect every little thing that we're doing, whether or not you have a firearm that you've built yourself or one that you're purchasing parts online. It will affect you. And I agree, it does seem like there is an intention here to start a registry. It does seem a lot more sinister than simply, let's try to just separate out parts and firearms. Yeah. So anyway, I am really upset by this, and I am grateful that we're all here tonight and showing support. It would be good to have you have the link at the bottom for donations to help his legal cause, and we should all be part of that. I think you can also on the JSD Supply website, you can donate and get a T-shirt if that's still available too. Yep. So there are multiple ways to help.
Yeah, give send go link for JSD is in the description for the video, and if you scroll up to the top of the chat, it's the first comment in the chat.
Awesome.
And it's like scrolling right across the bottom of the video.
Yep. Anything that y'all can do, any amount, whatever helps.
And I want to add that for those that can't donate, who don't have the ability, you can share this on your social media. You can share this with your friends, your family, and just get the word out there, because we are in an information war. And we're fighting a huge machine that is the government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they have all your tax dollars to go ahead and basically punish you for legal products. Right. So
and basically making you foot the bill pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, you're footing the bill for it. Your own prosecution, you're footing the bill for it.
Mm-hmm. Shit, we're even paying the boots on the ground to burn down houses and kill children and shit and dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, and it's not like they don't have a history of it, because they have a history of it. So it's not being hyperbolic when you say stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, and the
trying to get a new director in as well. I mean, this is just the beginning. I mean, with Biden trying to get a new director in there who absolutely hates guns.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be the second one. Now, this one just didn't, we're lucky enough this one didn't burn down a building with a bunch of people in it, but he's not much better.
No, not at all.
No.
And this is only going to get worse.
That's an excellent point with the opportunity for a new director, that we need to stay on top of this. And complacence in the firearm community, again, just thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me, it really hurts everybody. And I would even extend it to say that if you're not a gun owner at all, that this affects you, because this is government infringing on rights just at the drop of a dime, and whether or not, and really without reason. And so, we might say, well, I'm not a gun owner, so this doesn't affect me. But to have a government enforcing rights or creating, infringing on rights and just creating changes and turning people into criminals is something that everybody should be outraged at. And it doesn't help anyone. So there's really no wiggle room here. If you are an American, you need to care about this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Because that's the biggest, that I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's the biggest problem with all this that we've been dealing with lately. You break it down into the simplest thing, like you said, forget about the Second Amendment stuff. You don't have to have guns or care about guns at all. The problem at hand is a government entity that enforces laws, making their own rules up as they go, and those rules that they said and set forth are now being treated as if they was laws without going through the actual process to be voted on and the actual process to make a law.
Well, we're looking at something. Anybody, if you know anything about the Patriot Act, which is basically a lot of domestic spying. Okay, I can't remember the numbers of the bills. They're up on my wall somewhere in a plasma cut right now. There are a couple different bills right now that are going to make the Patriot Act, as far as domestic spying, look like nothing. And they are using polymer 80 and ghost guns as the tool of extremists to actually push these bills. How many people watch? How many people know that the Senate Judiciary had a thing on another gun bill or another gun control bill yesterday?
Right. Yep. Yeah, people aren't talking about it.
Yeah, people aren't talking about this stuff.
Or today it was Cory Booker's bill was reintroduced. I don't know if you guys saw that, but basically to have where you have to have federal registration for firearms and federal training to prove yourself to have that level of registry. So again, like even tonight, there are groups that are hearing that story in the firearms community, and they're like, "Oh, that will never pass. It's be dead in the water." And what just happened recently with the omnibus spending bill that included the NICS Act to what was it? The NICS Notification Act, where if somebody does not pass a background check, then it automatically launches a criminal investigation. And that's something that most of the time, the majority of the time, it's due to some kind of a clerical error. Now all of a sudden you're criminalizing people. So another one is the Violence Against Women Act, which basically is encouraging red flag laws. That's another thing that many people in the community, there were even people in the community that were like, oh goodness, another bill for women. Like they don't really think about men in domestic violence. I'm sorry, but the whole thing was a ruse to push gun control. And so there's a great verse, we wise as serpents, innocent as doves. And we have to be wise about these kinds of things and not simply just say, oh, well, that's never going to affect me. We need to spend the time to read legislation. We need to hold the legislators accountable. And we need to understand that, again, that these kinds of laws affect everyone. And there is no law that is not ultimately enforced by death. Right? Somebody has to enforce those laws. You're putting law enforcement officers' lives on the lines, even for a speeding ticket. So we have to take seriously every piece of legislation and ask, how is it going to be enforced? Because at the end of the day, people are putting their lives on the line for it. So anyway, I can't stay on too long, but in this particular case, especially with Jordan, I'm grateful that we're rallying together to support him. And I hope that some of the things that I said tonight will encourage people who are just kind of sitting on their hands over this. It is a lot more serious than just Jordan. It's beyond.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Because they're going after, there's bills right now, and I've done videos on some. that would basically make having an STL file that had anything to do with fire illegal. They're gonna go after gun parts. That legislation's coming to where you can't order a slide, you can't order a trigger, you can't order a barrel unless you go through the background check, have it transferred through an FFL. That stuff is coming. Yeah, I mean,
and they're just modeling it after Europe. I mean, that's the European law, and that's all they want to do. Is that in Europe, if you want a barrel, it's a serialized number. That's why if you look at a Glock has a serial number on the slide, the barrel, and the receiver.
Yep.
That's all the European laws. That's what they want.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Banshee, but isn't that the main difference with the U.S. is that the U.S. is pretty much the only one in the laws that cares about the receiver as far as the firearm part. Europe and a lot of other places, it's more of like the barrel and pressure-bearing parts.
Yeah, and then Australia is not quite that bad. I mean, I did a podcast with an Australian, and we talked about gun control in Australia because everybody was talking about, hey, Australia's got it right. And I went, oh, let me go talk to an Australian. And I did. And he's like, man, you guys don't want this. This is bad. And that's the whole thing is like, we have our NFA, which we all know what NFA is here.
Yeah.
They have their NFA, which is a National Firearms Agreement. So they seized all those guns and it wasn't even a law.
Agreement
it was just a bunch of what's that?
Agreements with who the fuck?
It was agreements with their premiers, which their premiers would be our governors. So they got their governors to all agree to this thing, and it's not even a law. They just did it.
Have you guys seen the video of them chopping up those guns in Australia?
Yeah.
It will make
that shit hurt my
to your stomach.
Almost cried.
I mean, you're talking beautifully engraved.
Yeah, you're talking a classic firearm.
Yeah, and they're just running a demo saw through them.
Yeah, the kind of stuff that you don't even see much over here because most people just, they want the modern polymer, whatever stuff, the higher end engravings, the good wood grain stuff, all that, like your heirloom quality hunting and stuff like that isn't as popular in America as it used to be.
No, not at all. And you're talking about firearms that over here in some of the places, some of the gun stores I've been in, you're talking about $12,000 beautifully engraved, hand engraved, not just machined, hand engraved. I mean, inlaid. And just run through a demo saw. If you want your soul to hurt, go look up Australia destroying guns.
Yep.
Man, that's gotta be like a porn for ATF agents, bro. Holy shit!
Yeah, I was gonna say,
in order to complete training, you must
like
watch
the ASMR.
Mandatory 2 hours of guns destroyed, and then they get like a psychological readout of your face and shit, and they could tell you're dying or whatnot, and then they're gonna be like, this person has to be serious just to fuck over people for no reason.
Yeah, if they had shot a dog at the start of that video and shot a dog at the end of that video,
and they'd be like, how do you feel
it's like ATF porn. It really is.
It's so sad because, like you said earlier, Coop, this is not hyperbole. Like, these are real things that have happened, and so people who are watching this might be like, wow, like these people really hate the ATF, but seriously, things have happened. These are examples of real stories, and so again, it is a huge overreach that this entity can just, they're not even writing laws; they're changing rules, and something we need to be concerned about.
So then the question is, how do we stop it? Right. The question is how do we get in there and stop it? Because what the ATF is doing, there is no politician to call. There is no representative to call. There's nobody to really bitch and complain about other than to each other. So then how do we help JSD and the future JSDs?
It's really by helping support Jordan. If we can get it through,
this is going to be $1 million battle or more because they're gonna
And
fucking throw all their agents. Think about it this way: their attorneys, they basically work for the ATF. Okay, that's what they do full fucking time. They don't pay or lose anything from those attorneys, attacking them on that shit.
No.
And that's the point is most people just don't simply understand that this is a money battle, right? We have Bloomberg who spends millions of dollars at a local level, at a city level. We're seeing it right here in Colorado, where money's coming from out of state to fight at a city level, at a community level to push anti-gun measures. And the pro-gun side really isn't doing much. Maybe here and there, pockets here and there, but at the end, we're very reactionary. We wait till the end, and if you dare to go online and say, hey, this shit's going to take a lot of money, this shit's going to take a lot of time, we are inherently lazy in the gun community. And that's the fine balance of saying all the shit that's true. We know this is true, where we're just preaching to the choir right now. This is our echo chamber, and we're saying shit that we already know. But at the end of the day, is like, how do we actually get these people to see this stuff? I myself am not a gun maker, but yet I, with myself, Rob Pincus, the people over at Aussie, we run the gun makers match. More them than me, because I'm not, it's not my thing, right? But I understand the importance of the gun making stuff. I understand I can't do the nerdy shit, right? Like, I don't have the patience for that stuff. It's not my passion, but freedom is my passion. Mm-hmm. So how do we get people involved? How do we get them I don't know, how do we get them entrenched in how the fuck do we take their money so that we can use it for this stuff, right? Because it seems like it's always the same people that pop up and have these conversations.
Dude, that's the probably $9 trillion question, is how you wake some people up. That's when bump. To be honest with you, when bump stocks, the whole fight with bump stocks came around, I got involved kind of in the tail end of that. Okay, that kind of helped wake me up. And from then till me starting my channel was another few years. And it took me actually taking the initiative to sit here and read legislation and do like I do on my channel. I actually edit existing law with what they want to put into the law, so you can see the text of how it would read. How you wake up a lot of these people, man, that's
the struggle right there. I mean, that's the thing that we've been struggling with for a very long time in the gun community. Colorado has been very lenient on gun laws for a very long time. We were more lenient than many of your online lenient states until recently. But here our gun community just seems to be very absent, especially when you request help. And as we lose, the trend that we see is we lost California, so everybody moves away from California. It's not like let's fight here. It's let's move away from California. Now we see in Colorado where a lot of the people that were in California come to Colorado and like, oh, well, let's leave Colorado. Like, no, that's not the fucking mentality. How about we stay here and fight? Because at some point we're going to have nowhere to go because we've given up. Because that's what we do in the gun community is we give up and we say, well, we lost. I guess it's time to go to the next place where there is no gun laws.
Well, and then you're just literally giving up ground.
Yeah, well, the worst thing is about that situation is like I followed Mom's Demand on Twitter. They posted some stuff, so I clicked on it. Well, it's this person who says, well, I'm a gun owner and I'm for gun control. So you have these people that live in California. They vote for all this stuff. Then they figure out they don't like it, and they move to the next state and they vote for it again because they think maybe we'll like it now. They're basically to me like locusts. They destroy the field, they move on to the next field and destroy that one, and they just keep going.
Coop, we're seeing that in Montana. That's where I'm at, is Montana. We have Missoula. Missoula is where everybody from California's moved. They've moved from Missoula to Missoula all the way down through the Bitterroot. There's actually articles in papers there, go move to Missoula and all that stuff. And Missoula tried passing a bunch of laws saying you can't carry, you can't do this, you can't do that. They got challenged to our Supreme Court. They lost. Through our permitless carry that we passed, it pretty much reiterated you can't override state law.
Yeah.
You can't do this stuff
Not
anymore.
preemption there.
And the problem we're having is that, it was Missoula and Bozeman were the two cities. Missoula's primary, Bozeman's secondary. The problem is they've screwed those two cities up so bad. Housing is skyrocketing. Everybody bypassed Helena. That's where I'm at. They're here now. They started moving here, in 2000 when they're trying to get out of, California, try to get a bunch of freedom. I was an FFL here. I had to give up my FFL because I did it out of the house. I had to give up my FFL because of the outsiders coming in. They were becoming problematic for me.
Yeah.
To the point where I was having sheriff's deputies remove people from my house, doing a firearms transfer. And finally, I was just like, this is not worth the safety of my family. If I ever do an FFL again, I'm going to do this completely different. It's not going to be out of my house.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I agree with that. And Edgar, like you with Colorado, trust me, up here, we watch you guys down in Colorado and we're just like, thank God we're not Colorado because we've seen what happens. But at the same time, it's happening right next door to us.
Yeah.
And we're doing nothing about it.
Correct. And we're moving over there. Right. So that's kind of the problem is it just that cancer just continues to spread everywhere. And it's not just on the gun issue, right? Sarah brought this up. It's not just the gun issue; it's the freedom issue overall. And this is one of the big. I pissed everybody off about a year last year when I said this is all we do is we just talk, but we don't really do much. We have great conversations, but at the end of the day, they're just rants, and we're not getting anywhere. We see small victories here and there. And we have to appreciate those because it feels good to win here and there. The amount of constitutional carry that we've had is pretty amazing to kind of see. But at the same time, we're one step forward and then a few back, and we're not overcoming the almost 100 years of gun control laws that have existed and have been introduced. Like we still have a lot of ground to make up on all this shit. So it's just like, how do we get the core gun community, whoever they might be, to change the way we think? Because we do this shit repetitive, right? Like I already know what's going to happen next year because it's like Christmas every fucking year. Like I know what's going to happen. We're going to show up with the friends and we're going to have one event. We're all going to stroke each other and it's going to feel incredible. But then nothing really fucking happens moving forward. So like, how do we change that culture so that we're actively winning? I like to see the victories. I'm pretty agnostic at this point. So like I need those victories. Yeah. We need to see more of that shit.
Well, one way that we can see victories is when there is a court battle like this. And, who knows if this particular case, which again affects more than just JSD Supply, could set a precedent that would just kick to the curb a lot of this nonsense. And, if I look at the Give, Send, Go right now, there's a goal to raise $250,000 and $7,166 have been raised so far. How do people get involved? Start there. If you look on the Give, Send, Go, there's a box to check to give or to share. So if you're watching this, click on that share now and different social media come up and share it to your social media to bring awareness to it. There's also a spot for Pray Now where if you're not going to be donating, if you're not able to donate money, then you can send, pray and pledge to do that or share some thoughts with JSD Supply. But, there is a tremendous opportunity here with a court case to set a precedent that really could make a difference. I don't know yet. Does JSD Supply have a legal team picked out for this?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. I believe so. I believe they just filed a suit.
A TRO.
Yeah.
Temporary restraining order.
So, but here's an issue with depending on the courts initially. Does anybody realize how many federal judges that Joe Biden has appointed to the Supreme, or not the Supreme Court, but the circuit courts and everything right now? Because he has appointed more judges in the first probably 150 days of his administration than Trump did in 4 years. That's all the circuit courts. So Ninth Circuit, Sixth Circuit, all that stuff. He has appointed some seriously liberal judges to those courts. So the fight's going to take a little bit longer because it's going to have to be run through the circuit court tonight, and it's going to have to work its way up. And that's if we continue to have people with enough sense on the Supreme Court to actually side with the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to be the one to kind of rain on that because God knows I want to see Jordan and them smack the ATF.
Correct.
I mean, like with a spiked baseball bat like dude had on The Walking Dead.
Negan. Yeah, we need Negan.
Negan. Yeah, I want to see him go full Negan on the ATF and his whole team. But, I also, you guys that know my channel know that I follow the laws that are being proposed in Congress right now, going through the 34 NFA and stuff and how that was upheld in the Interstate Commerce Clause. So I pay attention to the judges. Look at this last Supreme Court judge, Katani Brown. If you think she's bad, I guarantee you there are judges on the lower courts that are just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And it is going to be an uphill battle. And I think that, we're definitely aware of that and it's painful, but that also, but it doesn't mean that we should just roll over.
No, not at all.
No.
So there is an opportunity here. Another way that people can get involved is to help to share the word with other companies out there that sell similar kits or even who just sell firearms and to say, would you be interested in being part of this lawsuit? And how would you be interested in contributing to this? Would you be interested in sharing this?
Well, and this is
make it class action. There you go.
Class action lawsuit.
And when they say no, remember that.
And remember that.
Remember that because the whole thing with JSD again, I go back to me not being huge on the gun making stuff. Me personally, I support it 100%, but. I've said this to Jordan the times that we've had our gunmakers match. It's super impressive how he shows up and he supports the cause. I'm sure he loses a lot of money supporting that cause, and that's just incredible to see people out there that are willing to sacrifice time, money. More so money, right? Because for a lot of people that shit hurts, especially in situations where JSD is right now. Like I could really use that money. It's very rare to see companies and entrepreneurs that are willing to give up hard-earned money and time for a cause. And JSD Jordan has always been supportive of this stuff. Yeah. So without a question, that's why we need to save people like this. It's not just because we want to buy shit from him. That's one of it, but it's because he does a shit ton for the gun community and makes it better. And if we lose somebody like that, it hurts the gun community.
Absolutely.
One thing that's driving me nuts right now about people that are selling jigs and manufacturers of jigs, they're using this as a cash cow. I see the emails coming into my mailbox. They're like, hey, this is going to go away on August 24th. Buy now. It's like, great, but what are you doing on the backside?
Yeah. What are you doing to
all
fight?
They're doing is they're just trying to cash in. They're not joining the fight. They're just trying to make as much money now as they can, hoping that somebody like Jordan is going to win.
Yeah.
And that's driving me nuts. We need to come together as a community. We need to start putting pressure on our own community.
Mm-hmm. And if they're betting on it like that, then they ought to, put something into it to
get some skin in the game,
the outcome they want. Yeah,
because they might be next.
Well, Rogue, even go further on that. You guys, the thing is a lot of the legislators, senators in your local states don't have a clue about 80%. The primaries were yesterday here in Idaho, and the last 2 months I go to gun shows about every week for our product, and leading up to the primaries, every senator, everybody's had a table at these gun shows to promote themselves. I've stopped and talked to almost every one of them, and not a single one of them has a clue anything about ghost guns. They don't have a clue. So even if you can't donate, go to these gun shows, get a hold of these people, and give them a little education. Because I talked to several of them, didn't have a clue. And there would be a guy 2 tables down, selling 80%ers, and the politician down there just wants your vote, doesn't have a clue. Didn't hear, and I at least didn't have a clue about what it was about. So I was taking a lot of my time and leaving my table and just going and talking to these folks and letting them know and tell them to educate themselves on it because it's important. And several of them were like, "Thank you. I didn't know. You're right." And even if you can't donate money, start doing that.
Awesome. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And you don't even have to go to gun shows to do that. You can call your representatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when at a gun show, they're there face to face. You have their attention.
Absolutely. I get that.
You know, so no, it's a good
we're
thing.
In the gun community. Yeah. In the gun community, we're kind of in an echo chamber. You know, all of us here feel the same way. We all have, the same feelings on this. What we need to do is, like I said earlier, we're in an information war. We need to get the info out there to the average gun owner, the guy that's not building his gun, the guy that's got his grandpa's hunting rifle, and that's his gun. Those are the people we need to light a fire under and get active and get vocal, because the enemies of the Republic are in charge of the Republic, and
beautiful.
The only way we're going to win this back is if we get active. Not only, only with contacting senators, actually get active in politics. And we're not going to have somebody come up and save us. We got to do it ourselves. It's up to us.
Yeah,
I typed it in. The
I can agree more with you.
Apathy can be deadly.
It can be. When I put my, my channel's got, and that's exactly what my channel is. My channel is the people on the fence trying to get them to go, to go to one side, right?
Yep.
If you're a new gun owner or you're thinking about being a gun owner, here's the good stuff about being a gun owner. If you want to advance your skills as a gun owner, hey, come over, jump that fence. When I released my video for, the JSD thing, was it yesterday? I released it. I got emails coming to me from subscribers and viewers that I've never seen in comments before going, I had no idea this even happened. And we've got to get to those people. We've got to get to the people that, I had a conversation with my mom, and, she lives in Pennsylvania, and she's hearing the news about all these ghost guns in Philly and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, don't listen to that news. She's spouting off what's in the news. I'm like, this is what was wrong with those stories. They're not telling you the whole truth about some of this stuff. And then she's like, I had no idea, because she was afraid of all these ghost guns. And God, I've been shooting since I was 7. I mean, she was at the range with me. She, we all shot together as a family, and now I'm sitting there going, they've got her scared. She has no idea what's going on because she's watching that news. We are in an information war, and we need to start getting that grassroots campaign down. I mean, we have
to address for this though, and it's something
what's that?
There's something we need to address because it's kind of been the ghost in the room fatigue. We've all been fatigued through this bullshit. I think everybody's tired of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's tired as fuck about it. Like I ain't gonna front. This is something we need to combat. So it's like we have to be able to energize them and mobilize them in that case. But
well, that's one thing. The people, some gun owners, and I was guilty of this in the past. You only get energized when they're talking about banning everything, and a lot of people don't pay attention to the bump stock or the P80 or that's one of the reasons that I actually started my channel, so I could read through the legislation, and it's boring as hell. How do you spend 45 minutes to an hour reading through a bill, and it's just this constant drone of BS that they're throwing out, and make that interesting? Besides, I cuss a lot. But people need to see it. They need to understand how these bills will affect them. And they need to understand that, we all called senators about the Violence Against Women Act. but then it gets passed in an omnibus bill. So it doesn't even get voted on the House floor or the Senate. Well, it got voted through on the House floor, but it got shot down on the Senate floor. So they snuck it into an omnibus bill. And not many people are going to waterboard themselves like I do and actually listen and watch these votes. I spend a lot of time. I spend way too much time doing that, but I like to hear what they're saying from their own mouths instead of hearing it through someone else tell me about it.
Yeah. See,
which should anger all Americans.
Outsource that.
Right? That they can just put something onto an omnibus spending bill and just throw it in there. Again, this is something that should anger all Americans.
Absolutely.
But it is a great point, though, that we can get fatigue and that all of this can be really overwhelming. Something that I think would be helpful here, and I'm not very good from a creative perspective, but to have like an FAQ about this particular issue, something that can be downloaded in like a PDF that people can send out to their subscribers and listeners and such, and say, here's what's going on, here's why this should matter to you, and here's what you can do about it, and just break it down into a simple, 1 or 2 page PDF that people can share, and also that can be used as a press release, and then have people share it with their local reporters, whether or not they're 2A friendly or not. If you put on there, this is how it affects all Americans, hopefully people help to get the word out about it and let the public decide. But it's the tactic of overwhelming and the death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's meant to wear people down, and we need to be aware of that and be stronger.
Absolutely. And as you guys were saying, or one of you were saying earlier, about a family member that was scared by ghost guns. The word ghost gun, that is a tool created by our enemies.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
absolutely.
There's some think tank somewhere that was like, oh, how can we demonize this? Ghost guns. Ghosts are scary. So, like I said, it's an information war. We just got to stay vigilant and maybe work a little harder than we're doing, and change minds and change hearts, because that's how we're going to win this. And another thing is we're losing the younger generations. The schools are indoctrinating them through these communist programs, and freedom's bad, freedom of speech is bad, guns are bad, all this is bad, and we really need to rein America back in. We need to make America again.
Yeah.
Not to use some political slogan, but
no, and see,
the truth of it is that
one of the worst things about this Buffalo shooting, just like what you just said, one of the worst things about this, and I'll tie that in this, one of the worst things about this Buffalo shooting is he used a lot of language like that. So now whenever you talk about something like that, which the left has called us racist, whatever, forever, even though a supremacist. I mean, Candace Owens can be a white supremacist. So
how dare you all be white?
Well, while you're mentioning that, I don't know if you've seen.
Okay, I'll apologize right now for my whiteness.
No,
I was going to say, I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if it was the Washington Post or who it was, but they actually put out the headline that the Buffalo shooter was not a extremist or whatever. He's just a mainstream Republican.
That was the Rolling Stone that put that out.
Yeah.
It's an information war. But we really need to do a better job with disseminating information and helping people to understand why it's relevant. And I totally agree. I homeschooled my 5 kids. Believe me, I understand that the system's broken.
God
but we can
bless
get
you.
We can get overwhelmed. Yes. We can. Hi Joe. Hey, it's Flying Rich.
You're a badass.
We can get very overwhelmed with the big picture, right? And that is the way to fight that is to make personal choices. It's not easy to homeschool 5 kids. And by the way, my kids, they were all part of a rifle league, and I have a distinguished expert, 2 experts, and 2 sharpshooters. So firearms are very much a part of our family.
Hell yeah.
Those are personal choices, right? That we make that influence the next generation, and they take a lot of work.
Yes.
But wait, in order for this information to get out for JSD Supply, we have to stay focused on this. So anyway, let's fight that fatigue and let's keep it simple, stupid, right? And we want to make sure that people understand they don't get the fatigue, but they understand how they can make a difference on this particular issue. So with that, it's 9:00, and I'm gonna go hang out with my husband. But I love you guys. Thank you for doing this tonight. And JSD Supply, Jordan and family, we are cheering for you.
Just a moment real quick before you go. I wanted to thank you for coming on here and go ahead and give you a chance to let folks know where they can find you and a brief short thing about what it is that you do so they can follow up with you.
Wow. Thank you. So I want to be super clear that I am here speaking for myself, Sarah Joy Albrecht, tonight, but I do run a nonprofit called Hold My Guns, and we partner with gun shops to provide voluntary firearm storage during times of crisis or personal need. And you can find us at holdmyguns.org or holdmyguns.org on socials. And we appreciate your support. And similarly with what we're talking about tonight, it's very important that the firearms community takes initiative to have options for self-governance. And, whether it is supporting a cause like helping JSD Supply so we can have self-governance and have firearms available, it's important for us to have self-governance when we are addressing concerns like suicide in our firearms community or theft of firearms or unauthorized access to firearms. These are all things that we have control over. So that's what we do. We provide options for people because not everyone has friends or family who can store guns, and we appreciate your support. So thank you guys.
Hi, Sarah.
Don't go yet.
Sarah, when are you coming on my show?
Rich, you got to give me more than 5 minutes warning, okay? I love you, man, but
It took me a month, Rich.
There you go.
Get on my calendar, please.
You tell him.
Sarah, real quick before you go, and I know this isn't a quick question, so I'm putting.
Oh dear. Okay, go for it.
If we had someone who wasn't familiar with gun laws in the chat, how hard is it for you to actually just store the guns for someone else? I know, like I said,
such a long question.
You can just put it as, hey, it's hard as hell because the laws are stupid, but just explain, hit that real quick so people know.
It's a pain in the ass.
There you go.
That's why I love you, Sarah.
That was very clear.
Exactly.
To the
point. However, we do have a process that works, and I have to give credit to Joshua Prince, who is a tremendous firearms attorney here in Pennsylvania, who has gone up against Josh Shapiro, the Attorney General in Pennsylvania, and has fought him and won several points. So I'm very grateful that the attorney that works as a legal counsel for our nonprofit, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, by the way, donations are tax deductible. Joshua Prince has provided excellent legal counsel that have helped to pave the way and provide a process for lawfully storing firearms. We can also store non-serialized critical parts. So if a person is concerned about that, that is an option. However, again, things like this can potentially affect if we have to start serializing parts, that can create an issue for an FFL that is storing a, barrel or a firing pin. Let's see how tiny we can get a serialization on it. I don't know. It's like, where does it end? So, but it is difficult, but I'm grateful for our legal counsel that has, helped us to solve that very difficult problem. And we are saving lives too, which is beautiful.
Yes, yes, you are. Thank you, Sarah, for answering. I know I put you on the spot. I'm sorry. Thank you for going through that, Sarah. You are amazing.
You rock. All right, guys, for real.
Yeah.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Yeah, and on that note, we'll give a quick shout out to Shooting Gallery New England and Aegis, since y'all came in a little bit late.
I like your haircut, G.
You are so sweet looking, Joe.
I think his wife must have put hair in it.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that up, Joe. What happened?
Well, guys, I hate to tell you, I'm actually Prince Shoot Repeat, and I've just been hiding myself for so long.
There you go. But we have been going for about an hour or so now. I'm going to go ahead and, for those that are not familiar, you know, we're all good friends with JSD and stuff. And one of the guys that wasn't able to make the show tonight, Dark from the DLD After Dark channel, put together a compilation video with input from a bunch of us YouTubers and even some regular folks and stuff. And we'll go ahead and play that for our mid-show break here.
Yep, let's run it because it's beautiful.
I stand with JSD Supply.
I stand with JSD Supply.
I stand with JSD Supply.
Give a shout out to JSD Supply.
I stand with JSD Supply.
We stand with JSD Supply.
I stand with JSD.
I stand with JSD Supply.
Aegis Gun Care stands with JSD Supply.
I stand firmly with JSD Supply.
I stand 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 with JSD.
And 100%, I stand with JSD. I stand with Jordan.
I'm here to support JSD.
I support Jordan over at JSD Supply.
They need your help right now. JSD is going to fight the ATF in court. They are a supporter of the 3D printed gun community.
Your contributions to the community go far beyond just that of a standard company. You have always had our backs. Just know that we got yours.
This is what this community is about.
I know you're on the front lines, but you're not in this alone. Thanks for everything you've done and everything you're going to do.
Now it's our turn to show him support.
Stick with it, guys. You're fighting the good fight. We've got your back.
Jordan, we got your back, homie.
Don't let them get you down, Jordan. Keep up the fight, brother.
Stick with it. We need you.
And just keep fighting the good fight.
We got your back. We love you.
We're with you, Jordan.
For Jordan and his team, just know that you guys aren't doing this alone.
Jordan, don't worry about a thing, buddy. We have your back. We have the back of you, Aaron, Bailey, Bob, and everyone else at JSD.
We're 110% behind you on this.
So, Jordan, just understand that lots of people are rooting for you.
You got your back, brother. You got this.
Keep your head up, brother.
It's time that we stand up.
Help them fight the ATF.
Wait. Not fight the ATF. I mean, like, peacefully fight the... come out in PLA. Let them know what we're talking about.
This is the two-way printing community / just general freedom community. We can help out by going to givesendgo.com/JSD. Donate there to help the legal fund.
See, that's what we meant. You get it now? I'm out, y'all. Peace.
Prince, you repeat out.
I'm out.
And one final note. The ATF has not yet met an opponent quite like JSD Supply. Good luck, bitches.
And that's what it's all about.
That's all. That came out great.
Yeah, man, I love the ending that he did. That's hysterical. that whole video is freaking great, though.
Yep.
Yep, and I was glad. I was happy to be able to be a part of that and contribute.
Oh, yeah.
I say it was the least that we could do because Jordan has definitely supported so many things, and as Edgar mentioned earlier, that you know there was so many events and stuff like that he's pitched in on. You know that is not exactly the best business sense. But on the same time, it shows his level of passion behind it to be, like you said, sacrificing that time and investment of both time and resources into things that he feels is important.
Yep, absolutely.
I know Dark's not here, but thanks, Dark, for reaching out and letting me be a part of that. I was more than happy and proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, Dark, if you see this, brother, man, thank you for that opportunity.
Excellent fucking video.
Yep, big shout out to DLD After Dark for any of y'all that's out there in the chat that aren't already following y'all. He definitely deserves a follow.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Which I mean, everybody in this chat, man, which I got to look because there's a couple or Constant Tinker. I thought I was following him. I got to look through and make sure I am. Rogue, I got to get your channel. But yeah, anybody in this channel, well, besides me, deserves a follow. I mean, seriously, because I mean, you guys are all doing excellent work with this, and everybody fits into a category that could be interesting to just about anybody, whether you're a gun person or not. There's something in that content that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Again, my channel's boring. I sit there and read laws to people, and then I get chased by snakes. If you haven't seen that video, it's posted. I got an asshole snake I caught today. But that's
interesting to someone, though.
Yeah, well, that's the most viewed video I've got. It's a short, and it's got 400 and something views on it of me getting chased by a snake. I mean,
most of my videos right now is a bunch of dudes just telling me how fat I am. So I must be doing something right. I don't know.
At least you all have a channel.
I mean, like, I get it.
Dumbass don't.
Hey, man. There's always, that's the thing, Joe. There's always going to be someone out there who is going to try to bring you down on something.
Yeah.
Always. And most of the time when you look at someone like that, they're trying to push their shit off on you. It's absolutely, they're trying to take the heat off themselves. It's projection. So anytime someone starts with you about that, well, I won't say that on Swamp. I'd say it on my show. I won't say it on Swamp show.
All I'm saying is, man, they got to get more original, man. I've been
Joe, have you got
how
death
you
threats?
handle that is awesome. You always have such a good reply.
Yeah, Joe's always great about it.
No, I have not gotten a death threat.
His reply is send me 5X shirts.
You earned the follow.
Yeah, I would have told. Let's see if I can say this politely. I would tell him this belly turns to you know what at midnight. Be on it. That's not the politest way I can say that.
I got to talk to Crump because I kind of want to get a T-shirt made that says, "Hey, big dudes like guns too." You know, but only sell it in like 4 or 5X, so I could be like, oh.
I would wear that shit.
I'd wear it.
Fuck you, bitches.
Wear it for a poncho on the bike.
That's beautiful, Jerry. I would do it, man. I would run it.
Guys, I got
Dirt McGirt out there, fellow Mississippi brother out
here. Oh yeah, Dirt's down there.
I was going to say, if any of you guys are doing shirts and you're not taking care of a 4 or 5X for Joe, come on, get with it. Let's go. Even my small, cheap-ass company, we have a shirt for Joe. Come on.
Actually, but while you're saying that, Rod,
that's also the home of Joe Juice, too, so.
Yeah. You can't forget the Joe Juice, man.
Save yourself 50%
That's going to give him
off at
triple.
aegisguncare.com.
Oh, wrong one.
Hey, I just want to cut in here real quick and let everybody know I got to bounce.
All right, brother.
Cody, thanks for having me on, brother. Yeah, it's been a blast. Guys, keep up the good fight, and I will catch you all later.
Hey, Gun Doctor, take it easy, brother.
Absolutely,
later, man. Have a good one.
Later, guys.
And I'm pretty sure he's just Gun Doctor on everything, YouTube, Instagram, all his socials and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you look up Gun Doctor, that's who's going to show up. He's a freaking cool dude, man.
Also, sidebar, check him out on the American Stories TV YouTube channel. He was on Surviving Man Season 1, which is a wholesome show to binge watch if you don't feel like paying Netflix or Disney or any of that stuff.
I have to check that one out, man. I know he done the show.
I can't watch that show because when he starts doing push-ups like that, I'm just going, I couldn't do that when I was a teenager. And I was in shape. I'm like, I can't keep up with it. I couldn't keep up with him in my best shape.
Nah, man, he's a beast, brother.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And I mean, it puts out some seriously good content. It's not, something. Well, I mean, it's gun content like a lot of us like, but even his stuff, and starting some other ventures that he's got going on, it's really going to appeal to people who aren't gun people. Yeah. And maybe he can wake some of them up because they really don't understand, like this fight about JSD. It's a right. And if they can work this one, then, well, what's going to come next? Well, your free speech, that's definitely going to go. Well, what about your right to illegal search and seizure? Well, yeah, the Fourth Amendment doesn't mean anything.
But you see, they already started knocking away at the First Amendment. I'll bring up the letter to YouTube by the 5 congressmen.
Yes,
it took down one of my videos, and that's the whole thing. Is I wrote letters to my 2 congressmen, and I go, look, okay, fine, I violated YouTube policy, but that's not what I'm pissed about. What I'm pissed about is that 5 members of Congress used their office to engage in unethical and possible illegal acts of taking videos down. Congress has no right to enforce policies of industry, especially when there was no laws broken.
Yeah.
And then I have a Democrat and a Republican. The Republican talks to me a little bit more than the Democrat does, not by much. And I'm in their town hall meetings and all that stuff. I am hitting them on that stuff. Man, all my comments on the town hall, they'll actually go through and delete them.
Yeah.
And they don't want to deal with it because I'm pushing them, going, "Hey, look, you guys need to get ahead of this because if it's this now, what else could it be?" And that's really what we're talking about here tonight. Sarah was talking about it. This is just the gateway. We've opened this up. Now what's next? They're just going to. They're not even going to pass a law. They're just going to harass us out of existence. And
that's one of the things with the topic at hand tonight specifically that has been kind of thrown out there by a lot of folks is that this in a way is a delay tactic, forcing them JSD to follow their timeline of they couldn't get it done immediately, so they're trying to make them stop.
They're going to try to run the clock out on them, right? I mean, they gave them a cease and desist. Now it's going to cost them money to fight that for a regulation that may or may not exist in August.
Yeah,
I mean, I've read that regulation. It's bad. I mean, it contradicts itself. I mean, you'll have one page. You'll say, okay, we're going to grandfather everything existing. The next page is that all determination letters are now null and void.
Yeah.
And it's just how can you do that within the same regulation? Now, I deal with regulated industries in my day job. This is the worst regulation that I have ever read, and that says something. I've seen some really bad ones.
Oh yeah.
Rogue, I was going to jump in on something you said, though, when people, and you guys have talked about this a lot, just don't think this doesn't apply to you, what business you're in. I no longer have an FFL. I don't sell guns. I don't sell gun parts. We sell a cleaning lube and solvent, and I have been denied credit card processing. I can't make ads on certain social media, certain things, because we're a gun-related business, and I have an AR-15 in my logo.
Yep.
And it happens to have the word gun in your name.
If you think that you're doing something that might not hit you, eventually it's going to. Watch out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's infuriating.
I mean, totally. I mean,
I don't know if this has been actually talked about, but especially in my line of work, I got to get parts for stuff occasionally. How is this going to affect people like me who, got to order, parts on the reg for certain guns, if they're being AR-15, Glock, P320, whatever, and they're saying now I can't even buy parts from certain places.
Well, Joe, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to put those in your books, and
exactly. That's what's going to happen.
Of each part.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to have to A&D every part that you buy. That's what they're trying to do.
Oh my God, my
audits
are going to be such a pain in the ass.
Well, just take it one step further. What happens if you get a gun in, and let's just say the extractor is shot, so you got to replace the extractor, and then the firing pin is shot, you got to replace the firing pin, and they say that those are two parts that are serial numbered. Do you have to put both those parts on an A&D?
Well,
so
exactly.
You have to dispose two line items on your A&D.
What do you do with this? Okay, someone orders a new factory Glock barrel for their Glock. Okay, that Glock frame has one serial number on it. When you order that new factory Glock barrel, it has another serial number on it.
Exactly.
So which serial number are you using? The one on the barrel or the one on the frame?
Exactly.
You have to figure that out yourself, and you're going to be wrong whatever you choose.
Oh yeah,
and then you're going to go to jail.
Yeah, because you can't put
they
two serial
done
numbers on the
changed
same
the thing
spot.
now for like any error, period, from an FFL. It doesn't matter, human error, clerical error, anything is just grounds for automatic revocation now.
Well, they released the 5 sins of an FFL. That if you commit these 5 errors in your paperwork, it's an instant revocation of your license. And one of them was straw purchases, right? I mean, okay, what happens if the FFL was not even aware that it was a straw purchase? Right?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They're going to lose their license.
Well, think about this. When they talk about these crime guns that are showing up from these certain FFLs, okay, they say that 80% of these crime guns are coming from these 3 FFLs. These 3 FFLs are the only FFLs who service an entire city. So whether or not their guns get stolen or whether it's a straw purchase where someone is convincing, doesn't matter. They get counted in that those crime guns came from them, so they get the pressure.
Well, look at Washington, D.C. There's no FFLs in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
The Washington Metro Police Department is the FFL for Washington, D.C. So all the guns that trace back to their A&D book, do you hear about that?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know their.
I didn't know that
police department was the FFL.
Yeah, there was only one FFL left, and I believe he went out of business. I believe like 4 or 5 years ago, which left just the Metropolitan Police with an FFL.
I didn't know
to
about
buy a gun in DC, you need to go through the police department.
So that's who you would have it transferred through then. Yep. In other words, they don't have a gun store, but if you order a gun, you have to have it transferred through them.
Yeah, because they're the only FFL inside of DC city limits.
And then you're actually keeping a registry of that too.
Oh yeah. There's no way. There's no side photocopying of 4473s or
there's a list
on A&D book.
They're doing it.
Oh yeah. Well, you look at that. That's the reason they wanted the 4473s changed to where your information and the gun's information was on the first page. Yep. So they can go through and they can ask me, let me see your 4473s for the last month. Well, yeah, then it's a single scan, and you can do that with a very small desktop scanner.
With a camera.
Your phone. Your phone.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. We're under attack, and there's so many different ways. It's not even funny. I mean, these are things that people don't know. I mean, we need to get information out about this stuff. Hey, look, guys, this is what's going on. Yeah. I mean, Joe, think about it this way: if you repair a pistol, you have not even repair. If you sell a gun, you have the multiple handgun reporting, right? Mm-hmm. So more than one gun in a 5-day period. Mm-hmm. When I was in FFL, people didn't know about that. And, in here in Montana, it's not that big of a deal, but they didn't know that I had to send that to my sheriff.
Yeah. Well, my aunt was telling me a story. She worked as a nurse. They were in Arkansas. They live in Arkansas. They're still in Arkansas. But they found a really good deal, and I can't remember what type of handgun it was, so everybody just get bent. But the store had like 4 or 5 of them. Well, when she talked to the nurses she worked with, they couldn't all get off at the same time, and everybody wanted this deal. So they worked out a deal. They'd give her the money, and she'd go in, take care of it. Well, they, of course, buying more than one pistols. They have the cops show up on their door within a day or two. Hey, why'd you buy all these pistols? And I'm surprised that, knowing what I know now, that didn't go any further. But yeah, it was automatic.
Coop, it gets worse. So you have that multiple handgun reporting. If you're a southern border state, that includes long guns too, but only in those southern border states.
Rogue, I was going to bring that up because when I had my FFL down in Texas, in Houston, we had to do AR-15s and everything. It was an AR-15 and a pistol. That regenerated 2 ARs. we're going to report. So it was a lot more than you guys had to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up here in the northern border, yeah, we didn't have to deal with that. But I look at the southern border states, and they had to do. Oh, it's totally. Yeah, because
I was going to say I don't see people.
We're running guns into up into Canada.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be smuggling some ARs into Saskatchewan. So
Well, and that's something that comes down to some of the bills we're looking at, and like I'm pretty sure there's a plasma cut on the wall in honor of it, but it would basically make any. I mean, it's a federal bill to make it 1 gun a month at any time, long gun, short gun. And then they've got a bill right now in Congress that would make buying a long gun just like buying a pistol. So, I'd live, if I jump straight across the river, I'm like 15 minutes from Georgia. I'm right on the border. The only reason it takes me any longer is I have to go down and hit a bridge to get in there. But
you could throw a rock into Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, because when me and my wife moved from Georgia, my family's right there in town. Her family was kind of in this town, so we kind of split the difference. But I can go into Georgia right now and I can buy a rifle. I mean, no issues, just like a normal transfer. Now, if I go buy a pistol, it has to be sent to an FFL in Alabama because I have an Alabama license. Now, they want to make rifles just like that. So, and it's one of those things that some people will think of it as an annoyance, but it's another step in that encroachment. Sheila Jackson Lee wants everybody to basically have one of the firearms owner's cards. So you would have to get registered. You would have to register all your firearms. You would have to get training, 20 hours of training every year. And I think every few years you'd have to get more training than that. And it's everything would have to be registered, and people don't see this coming, or they think, oh, it'll never pass.
So
the dumber things have
though is just to stir the mud a little bit. With that is we as gun owners, before all of this shit happened, need to understand that. So you talk about the whole training and stuff like that. Well, if we're realistic, if we look at how many people with guns actually train individually on their own, that percentage is super duper fucking small. It's super duper fucking tiny.
I don't even know if you can measure it.
Not with my
help this guy stop bleeding. I don't know what I'm doing.
So this idea is we want the freedoms, but as many times we don't want the responsibilities that come with these freedoms. So a way of attacking this is yes, politicians fucking suck. We understand that. We can continue saying that until we're blue in the face. We know that. We already know politicians fucking suck. The government sucks. We get that. But we have to hold each other accountable as well. Red flag laws. One of the big things that we had here in the state of Colorado when they were trying to pass the ERPO laws here was this conversation about mental health, the importance of bringing the gun community and mental health community. Walk the Talk America kind of got their start with us here in the state of Colorado. They didn't start because of us, but this was kind of the first event that they were a part of a few years ago. And it's just we need to have this conversation before the politicians pick up the ball, because we're very good at dropping the ball and then wondering why the fuck people took our ball. Like, why do they have our ball? Well, we dropped it. Like we didn't hold people accountable. We didn't have people saying fucking train. Because if we don't, then we can't sit back and say like, well, now the government is taking this shit up. Well, we failed to encourage people to train and train properly and correctly. We're more worried about what kind of gear we have than let's fucking train. And train appropriately and train well. So there's that fine balance of we must police each other so that the government doesn't fucking stick their dick where it don't belong. Because that happens a lot.
But we're also a group, and everybody in here I'm willing to bet will agree with this, is we're not responsible for someone else's actions. So if someone goes out and they buy their first gun, Taurus Judge or something, I can tell them to train. And, I'll show, like I did yesterday, I'll post videos of myself training a little bit and forgetting the freaking chamber around like a dumbass. But ultimately, I can tell them to do that. But ultimately, I'm also not responsible for them. The same way I'm not responsible if someone runs their car into a telephone pole because they're an idiot and they're cross-eyed and can't see at night,
No, and that's not the point. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, absolutely. I can't really be responsible for what other people do, but at the same time, I can hold them accountable for it, right?
Yeah,
like
you can. Yeah.
I can challenge them. We see this in the gun community a lot where people get a hard on when a teenager steals a beer and the store clerk kills them. This was a story that happened a while back, and everybody's, well, the fucking teenager deserved to fucking die. Like, it's a beer. Like, it's not, that's not the way we roll in the gun community. That's not the way it's supposed to be in the gun community.
No.
It's holding people accountable in shit like that. Before the government does this stuff, like I get it, like it is that fine line of, it's not my responsibility to hold everybody's hands, but if I want the freedom, it kind of is. Like it kind of is. I can't prevent everybody from doing it, but it is my responsibility.
Yeah, that's where we can advocate for it.
Correct.
And I completely agree with the advocation because. That's what we need to do. Hey, people, if you own these things, you need to learn something about them, whether it's just cleaning, handling, stuff like that. I'm not saying don't advocate for it. Advocation is what all of us need to do. And I need to do it more on my channel. Advocate for the safety of it. Tell people these things are inanimate objects, but you need to treat them a certain way. You don't go out and just put your car in reverse and slam the gas for no reason. You're driving a 3,000-pound missile. So you need to be responsible with that. Or you need to be responsible with firearms. What I'm saying, and this is something, like I said, where I'm just not responsible for their actions.
Yeah,
I can advocate for it all day.
Of course.
You do, and I mean, and all you guys on here freaking do an outstanding job of it, for advocating for our rights and trying to inform people. And hey, this is about, even though you may not even believe in firearms is just a right. If they can take that away, guess what other rights are next? Everything else falls. So, your Fourth Amendment rights, you don't like just the cops just roll up in your house with no search warrant. Well, if they can make this step, that ain't far away, brother.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's the point of it, is every little bit of these slights, for lack of a better term, that aren't stopped is just another stepping stone that they build on top of by inch.
Absolutely.
Visible. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, downward. Okay.
God damn that dyslexia.
Rich, come on, man. You got to start saying something. You've been quiet down there, just like fist bumping.
I was just saying, we got Rich now. So.
Hey, Rich, aren't you supposed to be at a drill press right now?
Yeah, but my wife parks her car in the other half of the garage, and so yeah, I think tomorrow I'll make some some quality time for me in the drill press.
Sorry, I just couldn't. I had to teach you about that.
That's okay, buddy.
Don't worry. He laid into me as soon as he got on here before the show even started. So
he laid it. Oh wow, I'm just saying.
The beatings will continue until morale improves. Wait. Coop.
Until your MUP 1 is completed.
Right. Hey,
for those
SwampTalk, can you make Coop full screen?
Yeah, I was just fixing to do that. I'm sitting here trying to peek.
For those of you who don't know, this is Rich hitting a car that's hitting a house that I got to finish.
Oh my god!
He's flying in there with his airplane all mouth open, just freaking screaming, and clown boys in the car trying to drive home, and he's just getting wrecked.
You need to put an AFT hat on top of the bozo.
Yeah.
If I had thought about that, that so would have freaking happened. I might have to recut it now.
I just want to say I absolutely love this my sign. It came out amazing, dude. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I'm glad you like it.
That looks
I love
crazy
it.
good.
Yeah,
That is
I love
cool.
The only thing I wish I'd had a little bit more time to spend on the sides with the feed strips.
Dude,
And
don't worry about it. It came out amazing. I'm still trying to figure out because
I was there the night that logo became a thing, and just getting those bullet strips on the side was a pain for Clover to do.
I know, and I
just
thank
just in
Clover so much
graphics.
for it.
So yeah, it's I can see where you would have a problem with that.
Yeah, it took a little while because I pulled it over from an image, and then when you pull something over from an image, sometimes it just goes nuts, and then you have to sit down and you have to spend
clean it up,
kind of cleaning everything and editing it. And I finally got to I don't know. I worked on it a couple hours one day, a couple hours the next, and I was like, I'm just cutting it. I'm so done. I'm just cutting it. I said, I know what I want
honestly,
to do.
I'm thinking about hanging that up in my shop because I keep telling the wife I gotta see this sign right here. That is actually the signature sign from our wedding.
Well, I keep
that's gonna be
trying-
kind of rough.
yeah.
That's gonna be kind of rough move. She doesn't want me moving it, but at the same time, it's hey.
Well, what you gotta do is you gotta come up with like a hook system that when you go on air, you just hang it over top.
You flip it around the other way. You get like a white backing board, and you have that on one side, and then you flip it around, and then it totally obscures it, and then it has your metal cut on the other side.
Yeah, you just gotta get a
First
little
off,
bit of James Bond with it.
Can I say hello to my fellow Floridian, Chris Nelson? I mean, homeboy, what's up, man?
Oh man, so much.
The guy that's supposed to live closest to me that I never see. I see Joe shooting gallery New England more often than you.
Wow, man, I'm hurted.
Well, Rich, what you didn't know, and what you did know is Swampy kind of cut a huge promo on me a couple days ago on the phone. He's just like, if I knew you were gonna be down and Rich was gonna be down, and you're hanging out with the Hoff. I'm only 5 hours away. Why the hell didn't you call me? And I'm like, whoa, relax.
No. Do you know how precise that intersection was?
I honestly didn't even know you and I were going to be able to see each other when I was down.
Yeah,
so
it was I was driving my daughter and her stuff back from college, and we're in two separate cars. And I'm like, where are you now, Joe? Yeah. It's like, I'm at the corner by the theater. It's like, oh, is that you? I see you.
I actually had a beard and hair too, so
yeah, I'm telling you, it looks like your wife put Nair in your freaking shampoo.
Your shampoo, yeah.
Wash in,
and
then
my wife,
everything went down the drain.
Dude, my wife hates it. Oh my god, she hates it. She's like,
did everybody get the latest Crumpy breaking news?
No, well, hold on, Jordan. Well, he said Jordan put out what you got to explain it. Let's put
all
it
right. So JSD's attorney, Rob Olson, chicken farmer, put out a temporary restraining order on the ATF. Now, I don't believe that it's kind of like throwing down a card. I don't believe that means anything until a judge says, "Yeah, this is valid. We're going with this." So my understanding, and again, my lawyering abilities are zero. So don't talk to me. Don't take legal advice from me. But my understanding is that a judge will review the temporary restraining order and see if they have a high likelihood of success to win their case. Then he will grant it. It's by writing TRO on a piece of paper and shoving it into a court's hands doesn't do anything. A judge has to review it and think that they have a high likelihood of success. Now, again, as I've been saying more and more frequently when people ask me what I think the ATF will do, I'll say it's the same thing as putting your junk in crazy. Don't do it. I'm a sane human being for the most part, unless you ask Hank Strange. And I have no clue what, a leftist nut job judge will do, if it is, and I don't know, or what the ATF will do next. So it seems like the ATF is going through an order. I don't have clarification on who the other Polymer 80 person is, or 80% company was that got a cease and desist letter. I haven't got that info from Crumpy, and not even on the DL. So usually I get a lot more information from Crumpy. But what's going on is it appears that the ATF is fabricating a lot of BS. And what they're saying is that 80% receivers have been always illegal. See, if you read the 1968 Gun Control Act, it says readily convertible. Now, readily convertible, which I didn't know until Monday when we had Fudbusters on, readily convertible was to stop things that were originally firearms that were like demilled by shoving a lead ball down the barrel that you could just poke out and have as a firearm again.
Yeah.
So that's where, and it's absolutely like, if you knew anything about the law and what was going on, what made the 1968 Gun Control Act, you would know exactly that it had to have been a firearm somehow demilled and then readily convertible back to a firearm. That's what that law said. That was the pure intent of the law. So they're kind of twisting it, saying, hey, wait a second. It says readily convertible here. I read the text. You read the text. Look at that text. 80% thingy is readily convertible. You're a firearm.
You ought to check the private.
Yeah, I got to get going.
I was supposed to tell everybody we've been going for over an hour and a half now. We're going to go ahead and call the show here pretty shortly, but I just want to pull up and point out, like I said, the point of tonight is trying to help out JSD. Go ahead and hit refresh real quick, but I know I checked it before the show started, and it was just under 7,100, and as of right now, it's a little over $7,200 on the JSD Give Send Go right now.
Yeah, which I know, a lot of the guys. Thanks, Rich, for posting that. A lot of the guys in the chat right now are the same guys that we follow and we listen to all the time. But you guys share this on your social, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram. I've tagged a bunch of people on Twitter with it because, hey, sometimes it's nice to follow people like Mom's Demand, and then you see a bunch of guys that are arguing against them. So I see those guys that are making the same points that we make, and I'll slide that in there to them. Hey, this is JSD. Help the fight with the ATF. Am I going to post it on Mom's Demand's website? No. But the people that are arguing against them that make the points that we make, then I know that that's someone who could possibly support it. So the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, share it. If you can't give anything, don't feel bad. Share the link and then try to explain to people what's happening. Cat, you're killing me.
Yep, that's the most important thing. You might not be able to do much, but you might have a friend that didn't know nothing if you didn't point it out and make it aware. So that was the whole point of tonight's show, is to try to spread the word and give us all somewhere to hang out and kind of get some of the stuff off of our chest, because this whole thing is just all kinds of woven together.
Yeah, and it's something that in between home life and regular work life and trying to keep up on bills that are running through Congress and stuff right now, and seeing stuff like this, I mean, it's cut into my sleep schedule. My sleep schedule sucked in the first place. So, it's people. Some people that aren't into this stuff have asked me in the last little while, well, Cooper, why are you worried about it? Well, because as soon as this right falls, and as soon as the Polymer 80 falls, well, then it's not going to be frames. It's going to be all gun parts. After and it might be 3D printers or STL files before it gets to gun parts. And then it's just going to move on, and it's going to move on, and it's going to move on. and it's not going to quit because this is about the government controlling you. This isn't about safety. This isn't about keeping people alive. This is about control.
Yep. And then trying to see what they can get away with that people's not gonna, call them out on. That's all they got to do to get away with it is for people to not stand up to it, and then they'll go ahead and go to that next battle.
Yeah, and I will probably get something for this, but hey, you look at how many people fell in line with some of the stuff for the you look at how many people are still falling in line for stuff for the and you will see a pretty good cross section of the people who are voting for stuff that will take your rights away regardless. Because if they think they get a little bit of freedom and a little bit of safety out of it, well, they're going to give away that right and going to give away that right. And the sad part is right now, kids, they outnumber us. They are nowhere near as informed. They're not paying attention, and they don't value freedom.
Yep. And on that note, like I said, we'll go ahead and call it a night. If y'all want to go ahead and just give them one on a count of three of we stand with JSD, and then we'll call it an evening. 1, 2, 3. We stand with JSD.
And we're out.